Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived a man named Tom. He was an ordinary guy, not one to believe in ghosts and spooky tales. But one fateful night, his life would take a terrifying turn. It was a dark and stormy night, with rain pouring like buckets from the sky. Tom had to make a long drive to visit his sick grandmother in a neighboring town. He reluctantly got into his old car, the windshield wipers struggling to keep up with the heavy downpour. As Tom drove along the desolate, winding road, he noticed a flickering light in the distance. It was an old gas station, its neon sign sputtering and barely visible through the rain-soaked windows. His fuel gauge showed dangerously low, so he decided to stop and refuel. The gas station was a rundown place, like something out of a horror movie. The building was ancient, paint peeling, and the windows covered in grime. A creepy-looking attendant with wild, unkempt hair stood behind the counter, his eyes sunken and devoid of any warmth. Tom approached the counter, feeling a growing unease. The attendant's bony fingers reached out and took Tom's credit card, swiping it with a creaky old machine. He returned the card with a sinister grin. "Be careful out there," the attendant whispered in a raspy voice. "The night holds secrets you can't even imagine." Tom nodded, feeling a chill run down his spine, and quickly left the gas station. He continued his journey through the storm, the road becoming narrower and more treacherous. Suddenly, the car's engine sputtered and died. Panic washed over Tom as he tried to restart the engine, but it remained stubbornly silent. He was stranded in the middle of nowhere, with only the relentless rain for company. Desperate, he reached for his phone to call for help, but there was no signal. The darkness outside seemed to close in, and an eerie silence filled the air. Tom knew he had no choice but to get out and check the engine. As he stepped out of the car into the pouring rain, he heard something in the distance, a faint, haunting melody that seemed to drift through the trees. It was a soft, mournful tune, and it sent shivers down his spine. Tom opened the car's hood and examined the engine, but he couldn't find anything wrong. Frustration turned to fear as the melody grew louder, and he realized it was coming from the nearby woods. Curiosity got the better of him, and he followed the haunting music into the woods. The rain soaked him to the bone as he pushed through wet branches and slippery mud. The melody led him deeper into the darkness, and he couldn't stop himself. After what felt like an eternity, he reached a clearing in the woods. There, he saw a ghostly figure, a woman in a tattered white dress, playing an old violin. Her fingers moved gracefully across the strings, but her face was twisted in sorrow. Tom watched in horror as the ghostly woman's eyes met his. She stopped playing and beckoned to him with a skeletal hand. Her voice, like a distant whisper, filled his mind. "Help me," she pleaded, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "I've been trapped here for so long." Tom tried to turn and run, but his feet felt heavy, as if rooted to the ground. The ghostly woman's eyes held him in a trance. Suddenly, a bone-chilling scream pierced the air, and the woman's face contorted in agony. The haunting melody turned into a discordant cacophony, and Tom felt an overwhelming sense of dread. In that moment, the old gas station attendant's warning echoed in his mind. He had ventured into the unknown, and now he was trapped in a nightmare. As the ghostly woman's scream echoed through the woods, Tom's vision faded to darkness, and he knew he was doomed to join her in this endless night of torment. And so, the tale of Tom's terrifying night drive became another entry in the book of horrifying legends that circulated among the locals, a warning to all who dared to travel the haunted road on stormy nights.